Good evening. Oh, hello. Sorry about that. Had the webcam on. Good evening. Been a long time on Southern Truth, and the reason why I'm here because we have got a story that needs to be shared. G'day, Jared. I have got another YouTube channel called What Shay Saves. I will drop the link of that channel in a few, but anyway, this story that I'm about to share need to be shared to the general public because this is something that I have been watching for a few years, and I've also been a supporter of this channel. Let me just share screen the channel and then I'll give you guys a bit of a rundown about what's going on. So let's just go to the screen share. This is a channel that I support called What the Hell, and they are over 600, almost 700,000 subscribers currently right now. And as you can see, Jeremy and George, they're a wonderful, wonderful couple. And basically, what they do, they are resellers. Basically, they purchase storage units and anything that they find, like jewelry or collectibles or guitars or guns, knives, you name it, they resell that on their own websites like eBay and a few other things to the general public. Also, if they can manage to track down the family that owns, because some of these storage units, the person who owned it at one point in time passed on, but their extended family are still around. If they can get hold of the extended family, they have what they call restoring the love. They'll give it back to the family. So, what the hell? They live up in Ohio, in America, and I've been watching them for quite a while, for about 5 years, matter of fact. And the best to describe what the hell, they are snowbirds. Basically, every time when winter comes around, they'll head south. So basically, in about 2020, 2021, they purchased a block of land, approximately 70 acres, down in Florida, in a small town called Otter Creek, which has about approximately, give or take, 100 people. And they're in a county called Levy County. Now, the reason why they went down to Otter Creek, because they wanted to expand their business down in Florida, and the location where they picked, Otter Creek, is right near the Gulf, near Tampa, near Jacksonville, near Gainesville, near Orlando. They have all these other storage places where they go, and they want a specific location where they can live down there during the winter, do their business down there, and so forth. Then it came to early of 2023 when What the Hells managed to purchase the old schoolhouse, which used to be a school building for Otter Creek back in the old days. And what happened, there's been a lot of upheaval with the organization that used to run it and other people coming in and taking over. But Jeremy and George decided they wanted to purchase it so they can refurbish it and make it look like the original schoolhouse and hopefully attract people to come in. And they have $1 sales. Just recently at Christmas time, they had Christmas in the Creek where thousands, tens of thousands of people from around the county came to this place. And that's a story in itself too. And that was amazing. They gave presents to the children and gave the Christmas spirit back to the town people. But what's really going on in Otter Creek? Well, when What the Hales purchased a 70-acre land, they had another couple who were quote unquote super fans of What the Hales, who watch every move they make, every video they make, and so forth. So what they did, they were living in a place called Northport at the time. But when Jeremy and George started to make a living and started to get more of a roll on for themselves as a business model for themselves, this quote unquote super fans purchased an acre, not even that, a little piece of land across the road from their property in Otter Creek. And as the story unfolds, they had made the most outlandish slander ever imaginable. What am I talking about, Jamie? Well, let me explain. According to the evidence that What the Hales had presented on their YouTube channel, I've done a link in the description of What the Hales in the description. So if you want to go over there, subscribe, and you can get the whole rundown. There's the whole playlist on their channel that goes through. What this couple across the road from What the Hales done, they done these signs. Now, mind you, when they purchased this piece of land across the road from What the Hales, they wanted to turn it into a turtle sanctuary or like a little wildlife sanctuary. But due to the state law in Florida, you need a specific type of approval to have that. And especially turtles, you can't really have them in a closed, captured environment. You have to release them back into the wild. Well, that's not what's happened. They just live in there. And also, the land that they are living, this couple across the road from What the Hales, they don't actually live in a house. They live in a shed. They've got no toilet, no shower. They've got a camper van. And they've got a 4-year-old adopted child that supposedly had a metabolical, life-threatening disease. Take it what you will. So this couple decided to turn their land into a non-profit organization, and they put a form out to say that there are non-profit organizations. And under that guideline for the non-profit organization, it also states that you can't be for or against your local government, so forth. So what this couple across the road from What the Hales done, they made up these signs and they placed it all around the town of Otter Creek, stating, and I quote, that Jeremy, who is part of What the Hales, is a rapist that raped allegedly to the couple across the road, the 4-year-old daughter. Now, there is no proof whatsoever that this has actually happened. It gets even spicier and juicier than that. When Jeremy and George goes back to Ohio. They were having a meetup with their village mayor, the mayor that lived up in Ohio, and the current mayor who now resigned from Otter Creek. She went up to Ohio to meet some family members, and one was made together that they had a meeting. The right place, the right time. Well, this couple that lived across the road from what the hell's down in Florida decided to email this village mayor and made phone calls to run what the hell's out of the town up in Ohio. What do you think happened next? Jeremy and George decided that is enough. Enough is enough. We're going to place an injunction on this couple down in Florida for all the outlandish stuff that they've done. This couple has been begging, has been stalking, has been making outlandish accusations. As a matter of fact, the male of the couple that's down in Florida has made Facebook messages or statuses, I should say, stating that the reason why What the House bought the schoolhouse is because Jeremy and partner George can bring her family from Egypt, and they are actually trying to turn that into a refuge and call them a terrorist organization. Calling George family members radical terrorists. Put yourself in that position, ladies and gentlemen, just for a moment, when you had neighbors that literally live across the street from you declaring on Facebook that your relevant partner or other family a radical Muslim terrorist, and also have signs placed around the township stating that you are a rapist and you raped their 4-year-old daughter. Well, sorry, I just got a bit of a lazy eye tonight, guys. Sorry about that. Weeping, so I just have to wait there. But anyway, let's go back to Ohio. So Jeremy and George from What the Hales, they put in an injunction up in Ohio. The judge heard it, saw the evidence, and granted Jeremy and George a 2-year protection order, which also must include all 50 states must enforce the protection order. Now, what does that protection order consist of? That consists that the couple down in Florida that lives across the road from What the Hales cannot be within 500 feet from where Jeremy and George are. Now, if they're in a public place, doesn't matter who's there first, this couple must leave. But if because they live across the road or across the street from What the Hales, they're on a public road. They have to use the public road to access their property, both of them. That gets reduced down to 10 feet because they've got to be able to go into their property and they've got to be able to come out. But if someone's on the road at the same time, they have to be 10. The couple have to be 10 feet away from them. Well, as the fans of What the Hales know, including myself, I've been watching this unfold. When What the Hales came back down to Florida about middle to late of last year, they went straight to the sheriff office in Levy County with the protection order that was granted up in Ohio. What do you think happened next? The sheriff office in Levy County did not approve the protection order because apparently the state district attorney did not accept the protection order, therefore Florida won't do anything about it. It gets even juicier than that. The couple who lived across the road from What the Hales knew that Jeremy and George were coming back to Florida. They waited in the car park when Jeremy and George came to the sheriff's office. They waited in the car park. They knew that Jeremy and George were coming back to Florida. They knew that they were going into there to give the protection order in. But apparently, they didn't want to do that. So Jeremy and George from What the Hales had been going back and forth with the court in Levy County to get this protection order enforced in Florida because this couple keep breaking this protection order. But here's the thing. When Jeremy and George put an injunction up in Ohio, at that same time, this couple that lived across the road from What the Hales in Florida went straight down to the courthouse and tried to put a protection order on Jeremy. Now, check this out. The judge denied it for 3, maybe 4 times. I'm pretty sure it was 3 times. Denied it. Did not grant it. Because at that particular time, it was all hearsay and getting transcripts that was typed out from another person or get AI generated to do this transcript. And you know what AI does? They mistranslate the words, they put a different letter and it'll misspell a word or whatnot. But at that same time when Jeremy filed the injunction, this couple also filed an injunction. But it gets better. It gets better. In December of last year, sorry, not late December, in December of last year, the female of the couple put a motion in stating, and I quote, that the attorney that was representing Jeremy at the time was trying to bribe, and I'm going to use her name as a nickname, Lynette, a sum of money to brush all this aside and just let it be. What the judge did at that particular moment, without looking at any evidence, without doing any cross-examination, without Jeremy actually, or the attorney that was representing, without them actually providing any evidence, the judge decided to take Lynette's word as quote-unquote truth, because it is the law, and put a temporary injunction on Jeremy, which means a temporary protection order, which also states that Jeremy's First Amendment right was taken away. He couldn't access all of his property, which the judge took away in this temporary protection order. And just recently took away the Second Amendment that because Jeremy's got a temporary protection order on him, he's not allowed to withhold or held any firearm. And any of the employees or security. Now, Jeremy and George need security. Well, I can't have that now because their security has a firearm. Their security are not allowed to hold a firearm. So imagine this. A judge takes away your First Amendment right, takes away a large chunk of your access into your property away. You can't drive on that public road. You've got to go on the other side where it's notorious for roadkill, accidents, and also take your Second Amendment away. Jeremy has a motion hearing today in Levy County. Apparently, the final hearing is on Friday. There are some words that it probably won't be the final hearing, right? But this judge can make out this temporary order to be in place for eternity, if he shall wish. Now, let me just say this. This judge was not even elected in. He was appointed in by Ron DeSantis. Now, in America, you have to have an election to be voted in to become a judge. This judge was not elected in. And now we're at the gatehouse where this courtroom circus is going on. Jeremy hasn't been able to put his evidence across the other aisle. There's been 4 hearings at the moment. 4. And Jeremy can't even put his evidence across. There's been a bomb threat at the courthouse in early of January. There's been other things that's been going on. There's been wheeling and dealing going on. There's been other things going on. Sorry, I've got a weeping eye. And there's been other things that will absolutely make your head spin. A couple of weekends ago, not this weekend, but the one previously, Jeremy and George was having dinner at Chiefland called barbecues. Jeremy was assaulted by a gentleman. Now, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. By the victim's advocate. Now, the victim advocate, Amanda Martin, is also the advocate for Lynette, but because there's a temporary protection order put on Jeremy, he is now a victim. This Amanda, who's the victim's advocate, is supposed to support or advocate for Jeremy too. But what happened was, when Jeremy and George were at barbecues having their dinner, the victim's advocate's son assaulted Jeremy while he was having dinner with his partner, George, in front of the public. Amanda is also married to a deputy sheriff in Levy County. You see where all this is twining in together? Like inbreds. This is a cluster. You fill in the blank. I've been following this story since it's unfolded, and it's not over. Jeremy and George, mainly Jeremy, has paid over $80,000 in legal fees to date, and it's not finished yet. He has to make some changes and structures to his business. But how much, this is a question I want to ask people. How much do you need to sacrifice to stand up for what you believe in? To stand up for your rights, basically? To stand on your principles? The basic principles that's been grounded in your Bill of Rights. Yeah, I'm in Australia. We may live differently, but we still have principles. We still know what's right from wrong. We still know what, protecting and non-protecting. And this is where this whole thing goes to the wayside. You have a judge that will only listen to one side of the story. He's been biased. He's been giving attorney advice from the bench, from his own chair. What judge does that? This judge needs to be removed from his upper power, his boss. But do you really think he's going to remove himself? Of course not. He's grounded himself in this far too deep. And the attorney that's representing Lynette, Attorney Silverman, he is buddies with the judge. Apparently this judge was reciting Silverman's divorce case that he had. Don't you see a conflict of interest? Now, Jeremy, as I mentioned before, he's got a motion hearing today before the final hearing. It can't be possible that this road judge can arrest Jeremy and put him in jail for the things that he has said. Or, more importantly, check this out, because this judge has taken his First Amendment away, anybody that comments underneath the video of what the hales or whatever, Jeremy is held liable for what other people say. I will state this. You should not contact anyone that's involved in this legal proceeding. If you see something, say something, but report it to the authority, the right people. You should not contact anybody that's involved in this directly. Sorry, my eye is weeping. I've got a weeping eye. This has snowballed like a massive avalanche. And I pray for Jeremy and George for their safety, for their protection. Well, they can't protect themselves because the judge took away their Second Amendment right. How can they protect themselves? You got a guy that lives across the road who is not all there mentally, he liked to get on the bandwagon with alcohol and drugs, shooting random bullets at God knows what else. He's also pulled a firearm out on Jeremy at one point in time. But the authorities in Levy County will not do anything because they are not enforcing the protection order that's already in place that the judge up in Ohio has made it that all 50 states should enforce the law. All 50 states should enforce the law, but they're not doing it. And you have to ask yourself why. It doesn't matter if you are Republican, Democrat, Independent, Labor, Liberal, whatever. It's all about the principles, the basic principles. That is someone who has broken the law on multiple occasions, and it has been documented, and you're trying to provide that to the court in Florida, but they do not even want you to speak. How are you going to do that? How in the goodness name are you going to present the evidence when they already heard the evidence up in Ohio? Remember, Jeremy and George from What the Hales have two properties that they reside in. One in Ohio and one down in Florida. They are considered as snowbirds. They travel south for the winter. Therefore, when the judge granted the protection order up in Ohio, it wasn't just a state protection order, it was also a federal one. Because George and Jeremy lived down in Florida during the winter season. Now this Lynette, she has multiple aliases. She goes by all these different weird and wonderful names. And most importantly, she will do anything in her power to get you twisted that the person that she resides with, who is supposed to be a partner, is ex-husband, whatever. He's an alcoholic. He's an abuser. This is coming from Lynette. But then she will twist it and say, no. All the other people like Jeremy and George, they're abusers. This Lynette Preston, her other partner is John Cook. They have a 4-year-old adopted daughter, which there has been some speculation that it wasn't done legally. It was done under the table type of thing. They have no money. They don't even have a house. They live in a shed, and John lives in a camper. They've got no bathroom. They've got no toilet. This 4-year-old is still wearing diapers. They're dumping their fetus in this turtle sanctuary where the turtle's supposed to be swimming in. Otter Creek doesn't have clean water in Florida. And yet, Jeremy and George from What the Hales have to fight tooth and nail to protect themselves, even though the judge in Levy County has taken away their Second Amendment has taken away their First Amendment, has taken access to their property. Imagine this. Let's ask a question. Imagine this. Your neighbor across the road can stop you from getting into your property. All because of lies. All because they want to take a piece of your pie. This is what the judge in Levy County did. All because Lynette made a motion stating that the attorney that Jeremy had at the time in December bribed her of money to get this whole case to disappear. There is no proof. Therefore, Jeremy had to get another attorney because the attorney that was representing is now a witness. But there's also some movement going on. So you got the same. Jeremy and George still hold it. They can still reside there. They just can't access their property from that public road that divides the two parties. Jeremy and George have to go around the other side where the road is a roadkill. It's notorious for car accidents and you name it. They've already had a couple of deaths already on this year on that road. Right? So basically what I'm trying to say is, in a nutshell, Lynette can make all the lies she wants without any proof. And yet Jeremy has the proof, but he's not allowed to show that evidence to court because the judge is favoring Lynette. Now, when they took the First Amendment away from Jeremy, if you make a comment underneath Jeremy videos, which I have, and many, many thousands of people have, who do you think is held liable? Jeremy is. Jeremy is liable for what you, me, thousands of other people make under his video. It was used against him. Now, if this judge can do it, imagine what every other judge around the world would do. They would shut you down. You can't make a comment. Now, check this. I also know there's been a few journalists who want the other side of the story trying to go to the Lynette. But they can't, because the judge ruled that anybody who makes contact, Jeremy is held liable for it. And a journalist's job, sorry, my eyes are weeping. I've got to put some eye drops. I'll wear contacts as well. But anyway, let's continue. So the judge decided, because Lynette made the allegation that she's been threatened by supporters of Jeremy, without any truth, without any facts, the judge took that as truth because, in his word, quote unquote, it is the law. He placed a temporary protection order on Jeremy that because these allegations that Lynette had made to the court, the judge took that as, yep, anybody who makes a comment, anybody who threatens, blah, 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 Jeremy is going to be held accountable for. Who in their right mind makes that decision? I always say this, as long as you are not threatening or trying to intimidate harm on another person, and you're not being racist and so forth, you can say whatever you shall please. It's called protected speech. There's no such thing as hate speech. And excuse me for a second, I've just got to fix my lamp up. Oh, sorry about that. You have what you have called protected speech. Now check this out. So it also comes to hand that this judge has also made a motion towards YouTube in regards to this case. Made a subpoena. Well, you guys know how to say it. It's a long word. But you get what I mean? This judge has actually reached out to YouTube himself and put a motion out that anything that Jeremy does or says can be used against him. Now, Jeremy did pay a sum of money to get the courtroom footage. He paid it legally. He has what they called intellectual property rights. He's the owner of it, right? But this judge said, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed to share this information. You're not allowed to share the courtroom. But isn't it funny enough that you've got cameras everywhere recording at that time? Every courtroom that I've been into, there's cameras everywhere. You've been recorded. There's freedom of press. You have a right to criticize it or not to criticize it. You have a right to commentate over it or you have a right not to commentate it. But Jeremy has got hold of the court recording videos and he put them on his YouTube channel. So the public like you and I can see with their own eyes what is really going on in this courtroom. And let me tell you, it is the most devastating and most sickening courtroom session. You thought Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, was bad. This takes the cherry on top. I have not seen a judge this rogue ever in my life. This guy needs to go. Truly, this guy, he needs to be booted out. There's a hashtag that's going out at the moment and it's trending on X and Facebook. Hashtag buckle up. There is a hashtag buckle up. So let me just go here again. If you want to see some of the courtroom videos, go to What the Hale's YouTube channel, subscribe, go to their playlist, and you'll see Otter Creek, and you just follow the tab down to Otter Creek. That's their channel. They've got over 600,000, almost 700,000 subscribers right now. And it's just phenomenal what's really going on. But what I want you to do, I want you to pray for Jeremy and George. Just imagine if you're in their shoes or in their position. You can't access part of your own property because you've got neighbours that wants to cause a racket, that wants to cause trouble, that want to make a bit of noise for themselves. But yet you can't have a First Amendment, you can't have your Second Amendment, and you can't do your day-to-day things without looking over your shoulder every second. Jared says this, what is my thoughts on the current political interference that's been going on? Nothing new, man. Been going on since 2014-15 when Donald Trump was saying that he was going to run as president. Not going to change. Just going to get worse. We're on the brink of World War III. And that's what the government want. That's currently serving. Nothing you and I can do. Just have a look what's going back on here in Australia. No matter what we say, they do the opposite. It doesn't matter who you support. You can support Liberal, you can support Labor or whatnot. No matter what we say, they will do the opposite. And it comes back to this thing here too. When will people, I'm talking about majority of people, when will the majority of people will do the right thing and stand on the principle, basic human principles? We know what's right and wrong. We've been taught that. But the new generation, and some people like the judge that I'm describing, they don't have a concept of what's right and wrong. They want to manipulate it in their own belief system, and this is what I truly believe it is. It's a theological theory problem. They have their own theological thoughts on certain things, but it takes away the fundamental truth behind it, the basic truth. You and I have truth. My truth could be different than your truth, but the common ground in the middle is basic truth. What is the basic truth behind it all? And that's what people are focused on, the basic truth. And that's when it comes to political parties, that's when it comes to judges. They want to manipulate the system so they can hold the power. They can hold everything to account. Whether you may think that you are in the right, they still think that you are in the wrong. But when will the majority of the people stand firm to the basic principle of what is right and wrong? Right? Until people start to see that, there is nothing what we say matters. You have illegal immigrants going through the southern border of America, but the government allowing this to happen. Unless Texas has the balls to actually do something about it. But the Democrats want to hold Texas accountable for breaking federal law. You can't win. You cannot win. No matter what you look at, the political system, the justice system, no matter what you see in modern life, you cannot win. But as long as the majority of people stand on the true principle, there might be a chance. But these corrupt people, they've got cotton wool in their ears. They don't want to hear what we have to say. I agree. It is a rigged system. But what are we going to do about it? That should be the question. We know it's this, we know it's that, we know. But as an individual, what are we going to do about this? I've said it many times in the past, and a lot of people didn't hear what I'm saying. Well, now it's coming full circle again. What are people really going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? Are they just going to moan about it and complain about it, or they're actually going to make an effort to do something about it? We don't need a fight against flesh and blood. We need to fight against the principle of what's right and wrong. And it comes back to this thing with what the Hales. They're fantastic, fantastic people. I've been watching their journey since 2020. Been watching their journey. Every morning when I wake up, have breakfast, and before I go to work, I watch the Hales, see what treasures they found in the storage units, or what's currently going on in this courtroom battle. I try to stay away from the politics stuff because it's not going to change anything, no matter how rogue and how corrupt it is. I try to stay away from that because it's not going to change anything. All we need to do is keep doing the right thing, but we still get punished for it. We still get punished, but we still want to be able to call out the corruption. We still need to call out the corruption when we see it. We still need to call out the people that do the wrong thing. We know that there are certain people that like to protect pedophiles. We know there are certain people in this world that like to protect criminals. We know there's a certain group of people out in the world that still like to protect those people that do the wrong thing. But what are we going to do about it? And to be honest, it is an uphill battle. But is that the battle that people are willing to sacrifice? As I mentioned before, to date, Jeremy from What the Hales has spent over $80,000 in legal fees right now, and it's not over by a long shot. By a long shot. He gets assaulted by the victim's advocate's son, who is married to a district deputy sheriff, who's got a road judge, who is also an attorney that's representing Lynette, who is buddies with the judge. Jeremy got his First Amendment taken away, got his Second Amendment taken away. Anything that's been said on his video can be used against him and could be serving jail time. While at the same token, Lynette can do all the things against the books to break the protection order that is currently being served on her. And Florida not doing anything about it. But there's good news, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy and George are fighting this to the top. They are taking the state of Florida to court. They're taking this judge in a lawsuit. There's multiple lawsuits that are piling up and piling up and piling up. Why? Because Jeremy and George want to make an example that they are doing the wrong thing. Jeremy and George are standing on the principles of what is right and what is wrong. And you see it for what it is that they are corrupt and that they are doing it the wrongful thing, they've got to be held accountable for it. So just to wrap it up, go to What the Hale's YouTube channel, subscribe, go to their playlist, and you will go to Otter Creek. They have all the videos in regards to what I'm talking about, including the courtroom drama. Just go to playlist and you'll see Otter Creek, you'll see their videos, and tell them that Jamie from Southern Truth has sent you over there from Australia. Show them your support. And lastly, before I sign off, if you haven't already done so, Shay and I have got another YouTube channel, and we are doing okay. We've got over 420 subscribers at the moment over there. We started last year. This is what Shay says. It's Shay and I's YouTube channel. Shay and I do a lot of stuff like going to food festivals, going to concerts and all that. I do hot food challenges and so forth. We do shorts as well. So we've got videos as well. We've got shorts where I do all these dad jokes and false advertisement dad jokes and comedy type of stuff. You know, all there for your enjoyment to see. Right? So come and say good day and subscribe there as well. Yeah? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me. Please share this video out. Please go to What the Hale's YouTube channel. I'll just stop it there. If I hear any more from today in the court in Florida, I will do a recap and a bit of a rundown. So, hashtag buckle up, and I hope you're all well. We'll catch you on the next one.